Captain Growlek of the Dark Confederation Saturday, plus tapping in agitation on the reinforced armrest of his command chair. He was a seasoned veteran, with over 100 engagements under his belt, yet his scales itched with a discomfort he couldn't shake. The reason? He was about to meet with a human for the first time. They called him Captain James O'Malley. Growlek didn't know what to expect from this bizarre species that had recently made itself known in the galaxy. Reports were odd. They had a reputation for throwing themselves into battles they couldn't win, surviving planets other species deemed uninhabitable, and adopting animals that were literal killing machines as pets. The lift doors slid open with a hiss, and Growlek felt his scales bristle instinctively. The human stepped in with a swagger, his posture casual and confident. He wore a grin that Growlek could only describe as reckless. "Captain O'Malley, welcome to the Sorocton," Growlek greeted, hiding his unease with practiced diplomacy. "I trust your journey was uneventful." O'Malley shrugged. "Not bad, though our engines stalled a few times. Had to fix them with some chewing gum and duct tape." He laughed, as if barely functioning engines were funny. Growlek's mandibles twitched. "Chewing gum and tape? Oh yeah, works every time." O'Malley grinned wider. "You just gotta know how to tweak it. Any problem's got a solution if you're resourceful enough." Growlek wasn't sure if the human was brave or simply insane. He decided it was both. "Let us proceed to the briefing," Growlek said, ushering him to the holo table. They went over the mission quickly, a routine patrol of a contested system. The Dark Khan ships were powerful but slow. The Confederation valued strength and stability over speed. The humans, on the other hand, were sending out a fleet of much smaller, faster ships to support the Dark Khan forces. "We'll be keeping your ships in the back," Growlek said diplomatically, "out of harm's way." O'Malley snorted. "Out of harm's way? Why would we be in the back?" Growlek blinked. "Because it is the safest position." O'Malley's grin turned sly. "Nah, that's not our style. We're gonna hit 'em head on." "You want to be in the front?" Growlek struggled to comprehend. "The risk is highest there." O'Malley's eyes sparkled with something that sent a chill down Growlek's spine. "Exactly." 2 hours later, Growlek Saturday rigid on his command deck, watching the humans fling themselves into combat. It was utter chaos. The human ships were far less armored, yet they weaved through laser fire like it was a game. Their pilots pulling risky maneuvers that should have been impossible. They were like a swarm of insects, agile, fearless, utterly reckless. "Captain, one of the human ships has lost its engines," reported his second-in-command, Zerka. "Shall we move to retrieve them?" "Mo," Growlek said, not taking his eyes off the screen. "Look." To his astonishment, the disabled human ship was somehow hurtling itself forward. He watched, dumbfounded, as they used the momentum from nearby explosions to jettison themselves back into the fray. They're using debris as propulsion," Zerka said, voice filled with awe and horror. "Yes," Growlek murmured, "and they appear to be enjoying it." Suddenly, O'Malley's voice came over the comm. "Hey, Captain Growlek, why so tense? You should join the fun." "This isn't supposed to be fun," Growlek said, flustered. O'Malley laughed. "Oh, we're just warming up. You gotta live a little. Nah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna try a little trick I like to call the drop and roll." The comm went silent before Growlek could object. On the screen, O'Malley's ship dove headlong into a cluster of enemy fighters, then cut engines, spinning like a corkscrew. His allies weaved around him in perfect sync, firing on anything that came within range. The maneuver was reckless, it was insane, and it was working. The enemy fighters scrambled to adjust, caught off guard by the humans' chaotic strategy. Growlek's mandibles hung open. His species valued order and precision. He could hardly believe what he was seeing, and yet it was brilliant. As the last enemy ship was routed, Captain O'Malley's face reappeared on the comm screen, grinning as though he'd just come back from a pleasant stroll. "See, Captain, easy." Growlek took a deep breath, trying to process what had just happened. "Captain O'Malley," he said finally, "your tactics are unconventional." O'Malley laughed, giving him a thumbs up. "We humans are just plain crazy, but hey, it works, doesn't it?" Growlek couldn't help but shake his head, mandibles twitching in what he suspected might be the alien equivalent of a smile. Indeed, it does. A week had passed since the battle in the contested system, and Captain Growlek was still recovering from the experience. The humans had fought with a kind of wild abandon that was as terrifying as it was impressive. Their craziness, as Captain O'Malley put it, had turned the tide of battle, and it left Growlek and his crew buzzing with both awe and unease. Today, O'Malley was back on board the Sorocton for a strategy meeting about a new mission stealth reconnaissance assignment in uncharted space. Growlek had requested backup from the humans, but this time he hoped they'd follow a more restrained approach. O'Malley strode into the command room, as casual as ever, hands in his pockets and that ever-present grin on his face. Captain Growlek, long time no see, buddy, O'Malley greeted, as if they were old friends instead of newly acquainted allies. Captain O'Malley, Growlek replied with cautious politeness, it is good to see you as well. Likewise, O'Malley took a seat and immediately propped his feet up on the table. Growlek blinked, choosing to ignore the breach of decorum. So, what's this next up? I heard it's a sneak and peek mission. Yes, precisely, Growlek said. Turning on the hologram, a map of a dense asteroid field appeared, with a small, swirling nebula at its heart. The enemy has set up a new listening post here. Our goal is to infiltrate undetected, gather data on their communications, and return without alerting them to our presence. O'Malley nodded thoughtfully, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of a new challenge. Stealth, huh? I like it. Don't worry, we're great at sneaky ops. Growlek raised a skeptical brow. Your last encounter did not exactly reflect subtlety. O'Malley laughed. Fair point, but we've got a few tricks up our sleeves for quiet missions. Trust me, Captain Stealth's just as fun as blowing things up. Growlek resisted the urge to sigh. He could only hope the human's version of stealth didn't involve any unnecessary explosions. Hours later, Growlek's ship was cloaked and gliding through the asteroid field, with O'Malley's squadron trailing closely behind. The human ships were outfitted with some kind of advanced noise-dampening tech, and Growlek gradually had to admit they were doing a good job staying quiet. They were nearing the nebula, when O'Malley's voice crackled over the comm. Captain, we're picking up something unusual. Mind if we check it out? Growlek hesitated. Is it relevant to the mission? Not sure yet, O'Malley replied, the grin audible in his voice. Could be a trap, could be nothing. We humans have a saying, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Growlek didn't know what a cat was, but he was very certain it was something that didn't end well. Proceed with caution, he said reluctantly. O'Malley's ship peeled off, skimming along the edge of the nebula. Moments later, his excited voice came back. Oh, you're gonna want to see this. Growlek adjusted his holo screen to view O'Malley's feed, and his eyes widened. Hidden within the nebula was a massive, abandoned shipyard likely from a long-forgotten era of the enemy's empire. Half-constructed warships and rusted hulks floated aimlessly, like forgotten giants flouncing in time. Captain O'Malley, Growlek said, accreting into his voice, This is remarkable. A shipyard of this magnitude could hold valuable information. Exactly what I was thinking, O'Malley said with barely contained excitement, and I say we explore it. Captain, Growlek cautioned, our primary mission is reconnaissance on the listening post. This detour is risky. Come on, Growlek, O'Malley said, leaning into the feed with that gleam in his eye. Imagine what we might find here. Blueprints, experimental tech, who knows what they've left behind. And besides, he shrugged, we've got time. Growlek was about to protest further, but his second-in-command, Zerka, nudged him. Captain, we cannot deny that the intel from this site could be invaluable. Growlek sighed, realizing he was outnumbered. Very well, Captain O'Malley, but if things go wrong, I'll take full responsibility, O'Malley said, grinning like he'd just been given permission to play in a forbidden sandbox. They began exploring the shipyard cautiously, moving through the massive, derelict structures. Inside the largest hangar, they discovered a room filled with untouched data terminals. Zerka and Growlek were busy scanning files when a sudden, harsh alarm blared from one of the terminals. A security drone, ancient but deadly, awoke from dormancy, its targeting system zeroing in on O'Malley. O'Malley, when Growlek shouted. But instead of fleeing, O'Malley did something that stunned the entire bridge. He charged straight at the drone, pulling something from his belt. Growlek's jaw dropped. Is that a wrench? O'Malley swung the wrench with reckless abandon, battering the drone's camera lens until it cracked. The drone, confused and damaged, flailed and fired, missing by inches. O'Malley ducked under it, and with one final swing, jammed the wrench into the drone's power core. It sputtered and fell, lifeless, to the ground. Breathless and wide-eyed, Growlek watched as O'Malley brushed himself off. That, O'Malley said with a grin, is how you deal with old tech. Growlek's heart raced, and he had to steady himself. Captain O'Malley, that was reckless, impractical, hadn't be any reason. Thanks, Captain, O'Malley replied, winking. Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment. Zerko's face was a mixture of admiration and horror. These humans, they are plain crazy. Indeed they are, Growlek murmured, his voice a mixture of exasperation and growing respect. But perhaps that is why they succeed where others would fail. As they continued their mission, Growlek couldn't help but wonder if perhaps, just perhaps, a little human madness was exactly what the galaxy needed. Back aboard the Sorokton, Growlek tried to process the discoveries of the last mission. The human Captain O'Malley had thrown himself into combat with nothing but a wrench, taken down an ancient security drone, and managed to retrieve invaluable data from a forgotten enemy shipyard all in a single day. He couldn't decide if he was impressed, horrified, or both. Yet the results spoke for themselves. The intelligence they recovered revealed blueprints for advanced enemy technology, including an experimental shield system capable of deflecting nearly any conventional weapon. The implications for the Confederation were enormous. For the first time, Growlek had to admit that humanity's madness held a unique kind of brilliance. His thoughts were interrupted by a ping on his console. Captain O'Malley had sent a request to meet in person. Growlek took a deep breath, prepared himself for whatever insanity might follow, and invited O'Malley to his quarters. When O'Malley arrived, he was holding something peculiar, a small metal object, flat and circular, with a handle on one side. Captain Growlek, O'Malley greeted, holding the object up like a prize. I brought you something. Growlek looked at the object with suspicion. What is that? O'Malley grinned, placing the object in Growlek's clawed hand. It's a human invention, a frying pan. Figured you might want a keepsake after seeing it in action. Growlek stared at the item, confused. You use this as a weapon? Sort of. O'Malley chuckled. We cook with it mostly, but if you swing it right, it'll knock out just about anything. Growlek eyed the frying pan with a combination of horror and disbelief. Humans wield cooking instruments in combat. O'Malley shrugged. Hey, whatever works, right? And I thought you might want a little memento to remember your first human partnership. Growlek set the pan down carefully. Thank you, Captain, but I must ask, why do humans insist on these unconventional methods? O'Malley's face grew thoughtful. Well, Captain, you've seen our ships. We're not as advanced as the Confederation, not by a long shot, so we've learned to adapt, to make do with what we have. Sometimes, that means using duct tape and frying pans. He laughed. Our approach might be crazy, but it's all about making the impossible possible. Growlek considered this, the pieces falling into place. So, your madness is a means of survival. O'Malley nodded. Exactly. Out there, it's adapt or die, and adapting sometimes looks a lot like chaos. Before Growlek could respond, the ship's alarms blared, and the intercom buzzed with an urgent message. Captain Growlek, we're detecting multiple incoming ships' unknown signatures. They're not ours or human. Both captains shared a look, and without hesitation, they hurried to the bridge. The view outside was a sight to behold. A downseen enemy ships had jumped into the system, surrounding the Sorokton and its small human escort. An ambush, Growlek muttered, his mandibles clicking in frustration. O'Malley grinned, leaning over the comms panel. Guess they want that data back. So, what's the plan? Growlek was at a loss. The Sorokton was heavily armored, but lacked the speed and agility to break through. We may not survive this. O'Malley chuckled, his eyes sparking with the reckless glint Growlek had come to recognize. Well, I have a suggestion. Growlek braced himself. I am listening. We're surrounded, right? O'Malley said, as if explaining a simple idea. So we fight through them, punch a hole right in their formation. Through them? Growlek's eyes widened. That's suicide. Not if we do it the human way, O'Malley said with a grin. Here's the plan. We'll blast a path in their formation, and then use the asteroids as cover. The Soroktan holds them off, and my squadron leads the way, creating a chaos trail they can't follow. Just follow our lead. Growlek was silent for a long moment. His mind screamed against the sheer insanity of the plan, but his instincts born of his recent experiences with O'Malley told him it might just work. Very well, Captain O'Malley, he said, suppressing the urge to sigh. Lead the way. As soon as Growlek gave the order, the human ship surged forward, engines roaring as they darted straight toward the densest parts of the enemy fleet. The Soroktan held back, firing calculated blasts that sent enemy ships scattering. True to their word, the humans flew directly into the fray, using the enemy's confusion to their advantage. Growlek watched as O'Malley's ship led the charge, weaving between enemy fighters with near-reckless abandon. He clenched his claws, holding his breath as the humans spiraled through blaster fire and explosions, creating a trail of utter chaos. The enemy's formation broke as they tried to adjust to the humans' unpredictability. We're almost through, Captain. O'Malley's voice came over the comms. Get ready to punch it. Growlek didn't need to be told twice. He ordered the Soroktan forward, following the path the humans had cleared. Explosions filled the view screen as enemy ships collided in the confusion, unable to match the erratic maneuvers of the human squadron. Within moments, they were clear, speeding toward the safety of the asteroid field. When they finally made it out of the enemy's range, Growlek allowed himself to exhale. O'Malley's face appeared on the comm screen, grinning as wide as ever. See, easy, he said, as if they hadn't just defied impossible odds. Growlek shook his head, chuckling despite himself. You humans are truly insane. O'Malley laughed. Maybe, but admit it, you had fun, didn't you? Growlek hesitated, then nodded, perhaps a little. O'Malley leaned back, satisfied. Welcome to the crazy club, Captain. Growlek looked at the human, the frying pan still sitting on his desk beside him, and felt a strange warmth growing in his chest. There was something about these humans, their unpredictability, their creativity, their sheer audacity that was inspiring in a way he'd never imagined. Perhaps, he thought, they weren't so crazy after all. Or perhaps, just perhaps, he was starting to enjoy the madness. I prefer this response. ChatGPT, Response to an HFY story, Humans Are Just Plain Crazy Part 3. Captain Growlek adjusted his uniform, glancing nervously around the bustling bay of the Soroktan. For the first time since their alliance began, the Dark Khan fleet was hosting a joint mission briefing with human forces on board, and today, Captain O'Malley and his squadron would be joining Growlek's crew face-to-face. Growlek wasn't sure why he felt anxious. In their short partnership, O'Malley and his human crew had defied every known rule of logic, sense, and predictability. Yet, every time they emerged victorious, Growlek couldn't deny it anymore, was starting to respect O'Malley's wild methods. As he waited, the bay doors opened, and in strode O'Malley with his team behind him. They wore patched-up uniforms and carried an assortment of gear that looked more suitable for construction than combat. A few of them held objects that, to Growlek's trained eye, appeared like salvaged junk. Captain Growlek, O'Malley called out, striding forward with his trademark grin, looking sharp as always. Welcome aboard, Captain O'Malley, Growlek said, inclining his head. You and your crew look, well, ready. O'Malley laughed, clapping him on the back, a gesture that left Growlek wincing but oddly pleased. We brought some special equipment for this mission. We humans like to be prepared. Growlek eyed the equipment warily. Among the bizarre assortment, he recognized rope, several long metal poles, and, surprisingly, a large cooler labeled emergency supplies. Are those survival tools? Growlek asked, confused. This mission is a coordinated strike, not an expedition. Trust me, Captain, you'll thank me later, O'Malley said, winking. Now, where's that briefing room? Once everyone was seated in the briefing room, Growlithe activated the holomap, a heavily fortified enemy facility on the edge of dark Khan space flickered into view. This is the primary target, Growlithe began, gesturing at the facility. Intelligence suggests this station is crucial for enemy supply lines. If we can disable it, we'll severely weaken their operations in this sector. O'Malley squinted at the hologram. That's some solid firepower around it. Indeed, Growlithe said with a nod. That is why the Dar Khan fleet will provide a frontal assault. While we engage the enemy forces, your squadron will use stealth tactics to infiltrate from the rear, disable their power systems, and extract data from their mainframe. O'Malley's eyes lit up. So, basically, we're the distraction for your crew to do their thing. Yes, Growlithe replied, already bracing himself for whatever modification O'Malley might suggest. To his surprise, O'Malley just grinned and nodded. Sounds good to me. We'll be ready. Growlithe felt a sense of relief, but it was quickly interrupted by one of O'Malley's crew, a scrappy-looking human named Evans, raising his hand. Just one question, sir, Evans said, pointing at the holomap. Do those ventilation shafts lead directly to the power cores? Growlithe blinked. The ventilation shafts? Yes, but they are heavily reinforced and designed to prevent any unauthorized access. O'Malley and his team exchanged knowing glances. Oh, they say that about your vents, Evans replied confidently. We'll find a way. Hours later, the Dark Khan fleet launched their assault on the station. As planned, explosions erupted around them as Growlithe and his ships pressed forward, engaging the station's defenses in a grand display of firepower. Meanwhile, O'Malley's squadron slipped away, maneuvering toward the station's rear. Growlithe watched anxiously on his monitor, following the humans' progress as they expertly avoided detection. It didn't take long for them to locate the ventilation shafts. Growlithe listened in as O'Malley's crew pried open one of the vents and began navigating the narrow tunnels. I still don't understand how you intend to disable their power cores from the ventilation system, Growlithe commented over the comm. O'Malley's voice crackled back, full of amusement. It's all about leverage, Captain. You'll see. Inside the station, O'Malley and his team crawled through the vents until they reached the main power core chamber. A massive reactor hummed ominously below them, its blue glow illuminating the room. All right, Tim, O'Malley whispered, pulling out the assortment of gear he'd brought. Time to make some magic happen. To Growlithe's disbelief, O'Malley began assembling a complex series of metal poles, duct tape, and rope. He watched, equal parts fascinated and horrified, as the humans built a strange, improvised structure resembling a fishing rod and pulley system. What is that contraption? Growlithe asked, thoroughly bewildered. We call it a power siphon, O'Malley replied proudly. Gonna drain the core's energy straight into this cooler. Growlithe's mandibles clicked in surprise. Your cooler, that is not a storage unit for energy. O'Malley shrugged. Sure, it is once you modify it enough. A little human ingenuity goes a long way. Growlithe could only watch, speechless, as O'Malley attached a long wire to the cooler and fed it through the rods. With careful aim, they lowered the wire until it brushed the surface of the reactor. Sparks flew, and Growlithe held his breath. All right, let her rip, O'Malley called, flipping a switch on the cooler. To Growlithe's utter shock, the cooler began drawing energy from the reactor. The core's glow dimming visibly as power siphoned out. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. Captain, the station is losing power, Sir Carr reported excitedly from the Soroktan's bridge. The humans, they actually did it. Growlithe was equal parts amazed and horrified. What will you do with that energy? Oh, don't worry, O'Malley said, grinning. Just a little surprise for later. With the power cores disabled, the station was plunged into darkness, and the Dar Khan fleet easily overpowered its weakened defenses. O'Malley's team managed to slip back through the vents, carrying the charged cooler with them, and rendezvoused with the rest of the fleet outside. As the Soroktan pulled away from the smoking station, O'Malley patched back in. Well, Captain, mission accomplished. That wasn't so crazy, was it? Growlithe had to admit, however reluctantly, that the humans' insane plan had worked flawlessly. Your methods are unconventional, but effective.